What's up, everybody? Hey, Tom Laird here, host of the Advice from a Call Center Geek podcast and founder of Expivia. For exceptional contact center outsourcing, trust Expivia. We're fully AI-driven, as all of you know, and can handle voice, email, chat, and all of your digital channels. Our 600-seat USA contact center is expert in healthcare, financial services, insurance, tech support, retail, and more. Experts on the NICE CX1 platform, we ensure seamless customer experiences. DM me or visit expiviausa.com for more.
This is Advice from a Call Center Geek, a weekly podcast with a focus on all things call center. We'll cover it all from call center operations, hiring, culture, technology, and education. We're here to give you actionable items to improve the quality of yours and your customers' experience. This is an evolving industry with creative minds and ambitious people like this guy. Not only is his passion call center operations, but he's our host. He's the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing Group and the Call Center Geek himself, Tom Laird.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode, and thank you for listening to Advice from a Call Center Geek, the call center and contact center podcast. We're trying to give you some actionable items to take back into your contact center, improve your overall quality, improve your agent engagement, hopefully improve the customer experience as well. My name is Tom Laird. I am the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing. We're a 500, 600-seat call center outsourcer located here in northwestern PA. How's everybody doing on this Monday? As I record, it is March 29th, and spring is slowly starting to creep in. I hope it's creeping into you guys as well, wherever you are listening from. Hey, I got a couple things I want to talk about today. Number one, when we get into kind of the meat and potatoes here, I want to talk about ratios. I've had some questions on, what is the rep to supervisor ratio? What is your QA to supervisor to rep ratio? What is your WFM ratio? Those types of things. How many trainers do I need? So let's talk about some of that stuff here today. But before I do that, I want to invite you guys to something. So we have tried desperately to get some engagement on our Advice from a Call Center Geek Facebook community, and we have failed miserably. So we've kind of gone back to the drawing board on that. I posted on LinkedIn a couple, maybe a week and a half ago, and asked if you guys would be interested, or at least the link to my LinkedIn connections, if there'd be any interest in a LinkedIn group. And the feedback seemed pretty good, at least initially on the post. So literally about an hour ago, and that's probably one of the main reasons I wanted to do another podcast today to kind of throw this out. We now have the Advice from a Call Center Geek Call Center Operations Tips and Tactics group on LinkedIn. So please, we are looking to have, again, a group of kind of like-minded customer service and call center professionals, have a place where they can go ask questions, get some best practices from other people in the industry, not just hearing my voice, but hearing all of your voices in a way that we can all help each other. Again, there's no solicitation on there. There's no sales on there. I'll, take any of those type of posts down, not let that person post anymore. So again, this is just hardcore call center knowledge, right? That we can all share, because all of us have such expertise in so many different areas that it'd be great if we can just have one, real place where we can talk about those types of things. So again, it is the Advice from a Call Center Geek Call Center Tips and Tactics LinkedIn group. So please, head over there if you are on LinkedIn, join that group. I'm not even, once you click, you're in and you can start posting. I'm not even I'll look at all the posts, but as soon as you post it, sometimes you can have the admins review, and I'm not going to do that unless I see, we have a big issue. But speaking of that, also, I'm looking for 3 admins that would like to help, right? Just kind of moderate content. Again, not a big undertaking here. Maybe once a day, go on and just kind of check to see if everything is okay, or if anybody has any questions. So if you would like to be a moderator or an admin, I would appreciate that. Just kind of hit me up on LinkedIn or send me a message. The other thing that I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about and kind of generate some interest, hopefully, is I'm going to be doing, as of right now, the date may change, but it is April 7th. I'm going to be doing an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, right? So if you're unfamiliar with that, basically it's just a couple hours where literally you can go on to Reddit and just ask someone anything in an AMA, right? So that's what an AMA is. So, they've had everyone on there from President Obama to, plumbers to electricians, right? So it's any topic that, there could be some interest in that you're a quote unquote kind of expert. I guess I kind of am an expert, or at least I definitely am doing this for a living. So again, something I think that could be kind of cool on April 7th, doing an AMA on Reddit on call center operations. So if you have any questions, that's a place to go. And then also this next week, we're going to be doing a Clubhouse. If you are part of the Clubhouse app, we're going to be doing that on some call center operations and some QA. Okay, so let's talk about what we wanted to kind of get into today, which is kind of ratios, right, on your call center floor. And again, this is not a cookie cutter, one size fit all. This is how you should do it. All I'm going to do is give you how I do it, understanding that we're a BPO, right? So we're an outsourcer. We work for different clients that are basically looking to outsource their customer service. So it's not like I have a floor of, 150 agents all maybe taking the same thing, or at least, taking just sales or service or tech support for one client or one like internal center, like I know a lot of you guys do. We work for a lot of different clients. So it is a little bit different on how we do this, but I think you'll get an idea. Industry average, and I love when I say that because you guys sometimes attack me on we disagree on what industry average is, but it's about a 15 or 16 to 1 ratio when it comes to rep to supervisor. So I would say that's what we do right now. We're about 15 to 16 to 1 for our reps that are on the floor that have gone through training. We like to cut that in half for nesting, right? So, we're about at an 8 to 1, 7 to 1 ratio. And basically we have our supervisors, our team leads, and trainers that are involved with that, right? For nesting. So I wouldn't have a 15 to 1 ratio for, your new guys that are coming out on the floor for the first couple of weeks. I think those ratios need to be a little bit lower. But overall, when you get to kind of status quo, 15 to 16 to 1 is kind of where we're at. When it comes to QA, and this has evolved for us, and I think with the technology that's out there, having less people has actually made us, much better and having a higher quality contact center because of the analytics and because of that. But for our QA, we pretty much double our supervisor ratio. So, I'm about 25 to 30 to 1 when it comes to QA per rep, right? So we kind of double our supervisor. And before it was much less than that, but with analytics listening for everything, our QA folks have really turned into analytic folks. So to where we're setting up dashboards and trying to listen to specific things, seeing trends with reps, focusing on certain reps even more than we did it just kind of an overall arching, or if we had a supervisor say, hey, will you listen to Janie a little bit more? But now we actually have data that says who we should be listening to, right? So, that's kind of how we've kind of evolved our QA. Having said that, between all of our supervisors, team leads, management trainees, which I'm going to get into this here in a second, we are still trying to get about 3 to 4 scored calls per week per rep, right? So, before that kind of solely came down on the QA staff. That's initially how we set it up. But then as we have grown, supervisors are monitoring all the time, right? So it just made sense that they would become involved as well to a certain part of their day, that they're scoring calls as well. Not the whole day, but we definitely have some time set out for them to make sure that we do that. Let me get back to this 15 to 1 ratio too as well. So the other thing that we do, I know a lot of you guys have team leads, right? In our call center, we do have team leads, but they're kind of few and far between. And those team leads are maybe, a step before management trainee, right? Somebody who's trying to become a management trainer wants to be a supervisor. They could be a team lead, right? Or it's somebody that's like, I really don't want to be a supervisor, but, we kind of see them as a leader. We like to pay them a little bit more, give them a little bit of responsibility, but they're happy with where they are. They're happy, taking calls or being that leader on the team, but really don't want to, are okay with not being a supervisor. It's kind of just not for them. So what we do is basically we try to have a team lead, and it's basically, about every one team lead for about every 3 teams that we have. So, if we're talking a 15-to-1 ratio, that's about 1 for every 45. But what we do is we have our management trainees. Our management trainees are like our team leads. So we have most of the time, most teams have a management trainee on them as well. So that's kind of a working supervisor, I guess you could say, right? They're taking calls, they're on the floor, they're doing the job of the associate. If the supervisor needs to go on break, if they're off, they're kind of the substitute teacher, right? So they come, they take over the team. They work through the day if a supervisor is off or has, PTO or anything like that. So that's kind of how our hierarchy works we call it our OIC, which is kind of our site manager, right? And then we have supervisors, and then under the supervisors are the management trainees, and then sprinkled in our team leads as well that can help in an emergency, but they're also there to kind of sit with the newer reps, make sure that, those things are, that the new reps are comfortable and we can get through as much higher quality as we can really early on when a rep comes out of training and out of nesting. We've added an analytics team, right, to our QA staff. We have an analytics team that handles about 50 reps, and that normally breaks out to about 3 teams, right? And this is a little different because we may have just one dedicated analytic team member or manager for a specific client. The client may have 100 seats, so we might just have them work with them. But some of our smaller programs that may be just a 15-seater, we'll look at 3 different 15-seaters, and they'll be the analytic lead for that. So not only are they looking for the QA analytics, but they're looking for overall customer sentiment. They're looking at trending keywords. They're looking at those types of things that we can give back to our clients, right, to give them some added insight. They develop the reports that we do either monthly or quarterly, depending on what the client wants from an analytics standpoint. So that's kind of an evolving job description, I guess. That is something that's relatively new, probably the last year and a half that we've, kind of took away from QA and kind of made it its own specific area because it is a different type of skill set, I think, to do it right. Same thing with our WFM. WFM for us, we have 2 WFM managers for the organization. They basically split shifts, really don't have any from WFM on third shift. So it's kind of a first shift, second shift kind of deal. And they're basically handling everybody. We have that kind of under control. So they're doing everything from the staffing and then, looking at service levels, looking at doing forecasts, those types of things. So those 2 guys kind of team up together. They work within the analytic group. So there's a little bit probably more than just 2 WFM guys that could do it, but they're kind of dedicated to that role. And then for us, the trainers, we are probably a little bit more trainer heavy than an internal contact center, right? Because we have so many different clients with so many different types of programs that, training is a huge part of what we do from a quality aspect standpoint. So, we say that we can handle about 50 reps per trainer. So, and that depends if we are in a heavy onboarding phase where we may pull some supervisors for some added assistance, but kind of steady state. That's kind of what we look at from an ongoing education for when new information comes out. That's kind of how we at least look at that from a financial standpoint, and then also from a viewpoint that we think it's the most benefit to the client and to the rep as well. And then it's kind of the same thing with our HR staff. We like to have an HR member for about every time that we get to about 75 new reps or 75 more reps, we will add another HR team member, right? So our HR team members are doing everything from, talking to them about attendance to doing 30, 60, 90-day reviews, which, are just a little bit different than our weekly agent analysis. If you don't know what that is, check out that podcast. But, they're there for more of the support from the agents, from the HR, pay time off, kind of the benefit overseer as well. And we do all of our own recruiting, right? We don't hire temps. Everyone here is full-time, and it is up to the HR staff really to rally. They man all of our Facebook and other social feeds that we're using to recruit agents. So, it's really their job to do the interviewing, make sure that we have the team members, make sure that the classes are confirmed, and doing all the legwork that it takes to fill the center. And then also working directly with client services and with our trainers to make sure that training is going on as it should. And then if there's obviously any issues or anything that comes up during a day or a week on the call center floor, they're there to kind of help and assist if anything should arise from that standpoint. And then they're also, answering a ton of associate questions, as you can imagine with, when you get to the 500, 600 people, there's lots of questions on lots of different things, especially as we've been growing and kind of onboarding. So it's funny how different areas take stress on, depending on the growth of your organization, and also not just the growth, but where you are, at that time frame. With COVID and us onboarding so many agents so fast for all the 211s and for the vaccines, we've really stressed our HR and tried to beef that up. And I think that will somewhat go away, and we'll have different roles then for our HR staff. They won't be recruiters, but we'll be really focusing then on attrition and talking to associates and those types of things. So that's kind of what I got for you guys. I think hopefully that's helpful, just to kind of give you a little background on what we do from a ratio standpoint. How many supervisors, how many management personnel do we utilize, in our contact center? And maybe that'll help you streamline or maybe beef up certain areas that you think are understaffed from a management perspective, or overstaffed from a management perspective as well. Please let me know if you have any questions. Shoot me a DM on LinkedIn or a message. I'm meeting with 2 listeners this week who just have some random questions on things, so I'm always open for that as well. I always like doing that. And again, just if you are listening this far into this podcast, you really are a call center nerd and geek, which I appreciate. So please look to join that LinkedIn group, Call Center Tips and Tactics from Advice from a Call Center Geek. Thanks, guys, and I will talk to you all very soon.